step into a world, a scary world, a dangerous world. But it's not just any world, it's our world. And not just anywhere, but Taipei City, Taiwan, right here in the heart of Asia. Taipei is a calm city, a quiet city. Some people might also call it a safe city. Here, millions of people are just going about their daily lives, not a care in the world. They feel safe in this city because they are unaware of the massive danger that is lurking behind them. Like this poor sap right here, sitting in a breakfast shop, eating his dumpling. The only thing that he's worried about is that the bacon, egg, and cheese pancake is gonna go straight to his waist. I'm worried this bacon, egg, and cheese pancake will go straight to my waist. He's completely unaware of the danger. He doesn't know that there's a slumbering dragon nearby. It could awake at any moment and engulf the entire city in flames. I'm speaking, of course, of Yangmingshan National Park and the Tatun Volcano. Only 15 kilometers from this very spot. It could bubble up and explode at any moment. Oh, how I wish I could be like that poor ignorant guy eating breakfast and playing on his phone. He really has no idea what could happen to him at any moment. But I know, and soon you'll know. So stick around and follow me as I take you up through Yangmingshan National Park to Dayoukeng, the fiery, beating heart of the Tatun Volcano. Poor guy, he really has no idea. This video brought to you by Taiwan Plus, giving you the inside story on a small island with a big heart. Now we're at the start of the Jinbaoli Trail. This is one of many hiking trails in Yangmingshan National Park. Prior to the 17th century, this trail was used by the local Ketagalan tribe for communication and marriage with nearby tribes. It was also used for foraging and hunting. After the Ming Dynasty fell, rebels fled to Taiwan, and this trail was used to procure sulfur. Sulfur is an important ingredient for making gunpowder, which they used to fight the Qing Dynasty. The largest source for this sulfur was a place called Dayoukeng, a now defunct sulfur mine, which was used up until the mid-20th century, when new industrial processes made it much easier to get sulfur, and the mine became less useful. This dangerous area spews sulfurous fumes into the air and makes breathing difficult. Visitors are urged to stay away. We're going to go check it out today. At the beginning of their occupation of Taiwan, the Japanese carried out a plant resources survey, developed hot springs, carried out reforestation, and established a cattle farm and mapped out plans for a Mount Datong National Park, all with the aim of increasing production. Sulfur mining came under corporatized management, and north-south communication and trade activities along the Jinbaoli Trail boomed. As you can see here, the hiking paths in Taiwan are very well maintained and easy to walk on. That might be why some people have the misconception that Taiwan is a very safe country. But the truth is, none of that matters if the entire mountain explodes and blows up while you're on it. Along with trade and the transports of goods, armed units also appeared in the Yangmingshan area. The most prominent leaders of these groups was Jian Dashi, who made his base at the Qingtiangang and built defensive walls and cabins. He had numerous conflicts with the Japanese military. After World War II broke out, the Japanese aggressively prepared for battle, building pillboxes and underground defenses at Qiantiangang. They also instituted food rationing in order to provide food for Japan and strictly controlled the flow of resources. Despite the danger, this led to the smuggling of fishery goods by people who wanted to earn high profits and carry their goods from Jinshan to Shilin and Beitou on the Jinbaoli Trail. Scattered along the trail are many remnants from the Japanese period. This is one of the many stoves that was used by the workers to cook their meals while they rested along the way.
One thing about Yangmingshan National Park is that this is actually the wettest part in Taiwan, and the evidence for that is everywhere. This place is so green, and there is a really high diversity of plant life here in the forest. So many different kinds of species of trees and ferns, and also everywhere you look, there are little streams of water just flowing down the mountains, and the sound of rushing water permeates through the forest. It really is a wonderful place. Looks like we're coming up on one of those streams now.
After Taiwan was transferred to Chinese administration in 1945, fish porters and tea merchants in Shimen and Jinshan continued to use the Jinbaoli Trail to transport their goods to Taipei for sale. Sulfur mining encountered difficulties, however, because of competition from the cheap and high-quality sulfur that was produced in large, even excessive volumes in the United States and Japan. Dayoukeng and the other mining areas were closed one after another, and the sulfur porters disappeared from the Jinbaoli Trail. The Yangjin Highway opened to traffic in 1958, providing more convenient transportation and taking over the function of the Jinbaoli Trail. Those who lived along the trail gradually moved away, communities dissolved, fields were left fallow, and the trail sank back into the forest. It remained in that state until the Yangmingshan National Park, which established in 1985, began surveying and restoring the old trails. The Jinbaoli Trail was repaired in sections between 1996 and 2006, and this track, so filled with historic significance, was finally restored to its original state and is now the most famous historic trail in Yangmingshan.
We're in the wrong place. This volcano is big. This is a different fumarole, one of the many fumaroles that are all around the mountain, including Jixingtan and Baiyan and all those places. But it's not Dayoukeng or Xiaoyoukeng, so we have to go back, I think, and find another one. Find another route to it. So far, this route has been incredibly difficult. It's hard to imagine 150 years ago people doing this and carrying heavy equipment and the minerals to take down to sell in the market. Mining sulfur was definitely a dangerous profession. Now we're at Dayoukeng, and behind me you can see the smoke billowing up from this giant fumarole. I want to stress though that this area is quite dangerous. The land is unstable, there can be rock slides, and most dangerous of all, the smoke from these fumaroles is quite toxic, and it can lead to dizziness and then passing out, and if that happens, you're a goner. Because this area is so dangerous, it's actually not open to tourists, and we're only here for the special application we filed for filming this video. But it's such an interesting and important area, and also an important part of Taiwanese history as well. Deep beneath the ground here, there are pools of molten magma, and these magma chambers are what's fueling and heating up the water all around this area. Long ago, this entire mountain erupted, and the eruption was so huge that a river of sludge and slurry and rocks called the Har flowed down the mountain and actually blocked up the Danshui River, and it created a dam that was so large that it flooded the entire Taipei Valley. This lake lasted for hundreds of years, and now in Taipei, if you excavate, you can see a layer of sediment that was formed during this lake. Eventually though, after a few hundred years, the river made its way to the ocean, as it always does, and the lake was drained. But it didn't keep it out for long, because about 6,000 years ago, the ocean level rose and it flowed back into that lake, submerging Taipei yet again, and another sediment layer built up. into the city. These magma chambers now, although they have not erupted for about 5,000 years, are still there and they're still active, and occasionally they'll start to pulse, and they can pulse hundreds of times in around 18 to 20-minute intervals. Scientists come to Yangmingshan National Park and they put sensors all around the mountain to measure the activity of these magma chambers, the shaking and pulses that happens through the earth. Because this volcano is not extinct, it is merely dormant. And one day, Yangmingshan volcano will erupt again. And when that happens, I'm happy to say, I live in Kaohsiung. 这样可以说吗？我不知道这个是不是就是 politically correct 还是什么？不是我是你们，你们真的都是住在一个很危险的地方，你不知道什么时候就是都会爆炸。Anyway, I'm just saying, that's why I live in the south. We have floods and we have typhoons, but at least we don't have any volcanoes. You know, I feel like I can predict a flood and a typhoon and prepare for that much better than I can prepare for a volcano. For example, you know, I live in a place that's a bit higher up. I can stock my refrigerator with food and all these things. What are you gonna do if a volcano erupts? Nothing. You'd be like Pompeii, and in 1,000 years, people would be digging up Taipei people saying, wow, look at this fossilized scooter. Taipei people lived in a way that's so interesting to us in the future. I mean, they'd say the past because it would be in the future. Never mind, you get the point. Mining here at Dayoukeng was a really dangerous profession, and many workers died doing it. Most of the workers were local Taiwanese people working under the direction of Imperial Japan, and needless to say, the working conditions were not good, which at a dangerous place like this resulted in a lot of accidents. But the minerals here were used for their war effort, which is one of the reasons that it was such a strategically important place. Not only did they mine sulfur from these rocks, but also bituminous coal and other minerals as well. We're gonna have to move fast because this smoke is toxic and the wind is changing, so we need to pass that area before the smoke blows over it. So come on, let's go. Normally, visitors are not allowed in here at all due to the risk of landslides, along with the inhalation of toxic smoke and other dangers such as scalding hot steam and hot water which comes out of the fumaroles in this area. Around us on the ground here, you can see that the rocks are all stained yellow from sulfur. This is one of the areas the miners prepared the sulfur before taking it down the mountain. You can see many different rusting and decaying large metal objects which were used for the mining of minerals around 100 years ago.
Now these rusted pipes and containers are all that's left of an age gone by. But while humans forget, the mountain always remembers. And one day, this smoking hill is going to erupt again. It's not even the only volcano in Taiwan. Turtle Island is a volcano too. The white water on the west side of the island is caused by dissolved gases from massive underwater fumaroles. This area is also closely watched by scientists, because a volcanic eruption here could trigger a massive tsunami that would completely wipe out Yilan City.
The river is flooding now. So we're stuck, basically. We can't move, can't go forward, and we can't go back.
Wonderful. Yum. That's really good. I like it. This is wonderful. I like the dry tofu. The chicken is wonderful. It's actually really good.
Would you like another one?
Absolutely.
You know how you have a lot of taste buds on your tongue? You also have some on your
Whoa, that was prey. My brain is like breaking trying to process. My eyes are seeing it, but it doesn't feel real.
Damn it! We're broke, Dave.